Hey everybody, it's Claire from Honestly Ophelia Vintage, and I'm here to do a video about the not so glamorous side of selling on Etsy and eBay. Today's video is actually specifically going to be about Etsy sales, and I'm going to talk to you, since it is now 2018, about my worst, horrible, sad, disparaging sales of 2017. These were items that obviously I didn't put too much investment into as far as money goes. I didn't, this was more of a time investment, so you lose out on time when you sell items for just very little profit. And none of these items did I pay more than a few dollars for at the most. So as far as that goes, it's not a big deal. But I wanted to share with you my 10 worst sales on Etsy of 2017. And then after that, I'll talk to you about some things that didn't sell for me and have been sticking around in my shop for so long that I'm going to be redonating them because I am so tired of looking at them or knowing that they're in my inventory stash. So these are some things that I picked up when I was first learning. I'm still learning. Every day you learn more about Etsy and eBay, right? As a reseller, but hopefully I won't be making these mistakes again. So after the 10 worst sales, I'll share with you 4 things that I will not be picking up any longer when I go out to source. So here is my shop name, Honestly Ophelia Vintage. You can see if you want to take a look on Etsy, here it is. And we'll just get started here. These are, again, the worst sales of my year in 2017. So these are some Pocahontas Disney 90s stickers. Yes, they're considered vintage because they're from the 90s. And these were not at all a bad investment per se. They were 25 cents each, and I sold one of them on Etsy and another on eBay. But I have another set of these that are not quite as desirable, I guess. They don't have Pocahontas. They have more of like some of the other characters, and they've just been sitting around. So those might end up getting redonated as well or sent to someone who's a Disney fan. Not sure. These sold for a total of $6.79 for one set of stickers. So 25 cents into $6.79. Not terrible, but not great either. So, this was actually free, given to me by my sister. It was a vintage crawling Cupid doll. It's just really tiny. And although very cute and everything, it's just not worth the time and energy it took to photograph, to list, when I can be spending time on an item that will fetch a lot more money. I'm going to choose that next time. So this was $6.99, and again, I got this for free. This is just a brooch. You might have seen this in one of my other sales update videos. It was in a jewelry jar. It was kind of an experiment of, can I sell this? It's not necessarily something exciting or glamorous or made by a maker, designer who's particularly sought after. It sold for $7.46, and I probably paid about a quarter when everything is averaged out. But I'm going to try to avoid the jewelry that's a little less exciting in the year 2018. Hopefully find things that are more sought after, more interesting, more intricately done. This is just kind of generic, and although it did sell, which is great, I'm happy to make any kind of profit I can. I would try to avoid selling things like this in the future and just stick to items that'll reach somewhere around 15 or above as far as profit goes. Okay, this was a little coin pouch. It had like a steer on it in Texas, and it sat for forever. And I finally just put it down to a pretty low price, and it sold for $7.46. So I think this was, again, a free item. I don't think I paid anything for this, but yeah, not something I'm going to be spending time and energy on in the future. Okay, this is a vintage bandana with a tiki theme. It's got hibiscus flowers. It's very tropical. I love selling bandanas. They still can bring good money for me. And I probably didn't pay more than $1 for this. However, this particular one had holes, stains. It was not in good shape. It was, although an interesting design, not crazy sought after. I like to try to get ones that have like animals or buildings or something like that. Maybe I can do a video about selling bandanas in future. But so this one sold for $7.49. Again, just not quite around the dollar range that I want to be hitting. So this was a vintage Power Rangers pillowcase. Again, I think the issue with this one was that it had some holes, some stains, and I guess that would be my tip, is just try to pick up stuff that's in better shape. I only paid $0.25 for this, and it did sell for $7.61. Considering the horrible shape that it was in, that's pretty good. But I'm just going to be avoiding stuff like this again in the future. This Seashell box is cute. It's very like beach decor, but it sat and sat and sat, and finally I got it out for $7.99. So a lot of these are just small items and things that I was experimenting with just to see how they would do. So Lisa Frank, she can do pretty well. Some of her stuff you can actually sell for decent money, especially if you find things like purses or clothing or towels or anything like that, like these bigger items. But these were just 2 tiny little kaleidoscopes, and I paid 25 cents each for them at a rummage sale, I believe. And these took forever to sell too. They had so many views and so many hearts and things like that, but they only sold for $8.46. So I probably would not pick those up again if I saw them. Okay, this is a vintage baby sweater. It's kind of got a nautical look to it. But basically I'm not going to be venturing into kids' clothes as much unless it's something really fabulous. So this is cute, right? And I probably didn't pay more than $1, but it's not exactly thrilling as far as design or anything like that goes. So I was happy to get it out, and it sold for $8.49. Okay, and last but not least, this is not necessarily a dud so much as I paid too much for this. I paid $5 for this little RainbowBrite Thermos, and I would probably still pick this up again, except for the fact that I paid too much. So in future, I wouldn't pay $5 for this. It only sold for $9.95, and I could probably have gotten more had I asked for it, because it wasn't listed very long. But again, it just was a dud because I invested too much in it. All right, so those are my 10 worst sales of 2017, items that didn't sell for very much that I would probably avoid in the future. And the next 5 items I'm going to show you are just things that I've been reconsidering, and as I'm looking at my business, hoping to grow it in 2018, these are things that I really will not be picking up anymore, and many of the ones that you're going to see will be redonated, sadly, unless in the next couple of days someone decides to buy them, which I'm not sure if that'll happen. So one thing that I used to grab a lot of was puzzles, and this particular brand, Ravensburger, can do really well, but what I've realized is that they need to be sealed, brand new, unopened, in order for them to be desirable, basically. So I won't be picking up these anymore unless they are sealed and in their original packaging. They're really cool. They're made in Europe, and I have done well with the ones that are sealed before. But this little guy has sat around for too long and is probably going to be redonated. So some of my prices on these things might be too high as well. I'm not sure. Okay, so this is a flop for me. Vintage hand towels or dish towels. I think the issue is that the subject matter is not super interesting. I think you can sell towels on Etsy and eBay and make a good profit, but they need to be more interesting. Maybe have animals or novelty print or something like that on them. This was just like a very obviously retro in its colors, like avocado green and bright yellow, and it just kind of screams 1970s to me. So I thought, oh, that's kind of cool, but nope, no takers. And again, my price might be too high. I'm not sure. But this will probably get redonated or used around our house for cleaning. Okay, and then I love baby clothes. Again, I think I mentioned that earlier in this video, but it's a mistake. Sorry, that was my phone. It's a mistake to pick up any, vintage Disney or vintage baby clothes. They need to be a little more interesting. Or I will continue to pick up baby clothes that are sought after, like brands in the adult world, such as Polo Sport, Ralph Lauren, or like Tommy Hilfiger, if it has like a really great graphic. So recently I picked up like a Polo Sport sweater, and it had the classic Ralph Lauren teddy bear on it. Something like that, which people are searching for still. It's really popular, and both adults and kids would want them, or parents would buy them for their children. Like, that's the kind of thing that I will still continue to pick up. But just like retro Disney, not so much anymore, unless it's something like super spectacular. I'm just going to have to leave it behind. So this has sat around for a long time too. And again, maybe my price is too high. I'm not sure. But okay. And then let's see. Okay. This is a needle point. It's like a counted cross stitch. And generally these can do okay. My pictures here are really awful, so please excuse that. That could be part of the problem. But essentially not all needlepoint kits sell. You need to be more careful and more selective when it comes to picking these up. Some of them can do great and you can make hundreds of dollars on them. I've sold great Christmas needle kit points, or craft kits for anywhere in like the $60 to $70 range. But you have to be way more particular than I was being with these. So I think I just got overeager and found a bunch at a thrift store, grabbed all of them, and then went to list, and these have sat for a long time. So, finally, we have this vintage Echo scarf. This is still in my shop. It's been listed for quite a while. It's actually pretty, but I think, again, that the issue is the subject matter. So I did a video all about scarves. You're welcome to go back and take a look at it. Echo is not a particularly sought after designer. They can be, I think, but I think the subject matter needs to be something that they're particularly looking for. So, sorry, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit here, but this is paisley. It's not super interesting. It's not anything out of the ordinary. So hopefully in the future I will avoid just kind of like plain patterns like this. Okay guys, so those are my 10 worst sales of 2017. Hopefully you can learn from my mistakes. And I certainly will be learning from them, and hopefully going forward in 2018 to have bigger profits and make more money, because that's the point, right? So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned from it, and if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment sharing your thoughts. All right guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.